The Weekly is supported by the Oregon State University eCampus. Do you want to take the fast track to your career in computing? You can earn your computer science degree 100% online from Oregon State and tap into unlimited career opportunities in any field. Learn more at ecampus.oregonstate.edu/now. Hello.
We lost her.
Hello? Hello. Use your... Are you in the office? Use the 5G.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you now.
Hear us, clearly.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to The Weekly, brought to you by Pocketnow and XDA developers, recorded on March 21st, 2019. I am, of course, your host, Joshua Vergara. What's going on, everybody? And I'm here to bring you the first episode of what is kind of a new era for the Pocketnow Weekly. Our now former producer extraordinaire, Jules Wong, has moved on to new opportunities, so now I'm taking on the podcast, not only the hosting duties, but also all of the editing and producing and publishing as well. So I'm doing my best to bring you a great show every single week, and I wanted to do something special for this first one. I just got back from China at the launch of the Black Shark 2, which is a beast of a phone, and we do talk about it at the beginning of this episode. By the way, there's a bit of fuzz in the audio to start off. Part of the reason why, and I'm pretty sure this is the reason why, is because I had the Black Shark 2 hovering over the recorder that I use for the podcast, which means that there was some radio interference. There's a lot of stuff going on in that phone, so you're going to see why, not only in a video here on Pocketnow, which is already available, but also in our first reactions, where I have both Jaime Rivera and our guest, David Cogen, also known as TheUnlockr, react to this crazy gaming phone. But on the topic of gaming, we also talk about the brand new announcement of Google Stadia and how this game streaming service might really change gaming for the better, but we're also a little bit confused as to who exactly this service might be for and how much it might actually be, because there's no pricing on it yet. All of this was recorded in San Diego, California, where Jaime and David Cogen were for a Qualcomm event where they announced a brand new audio processing chip and also did some announcements around Wi-Fi 6 and other announcements that they discuss in this podcast. So yeah, I wanted to make sure that we were all in the same room together. It was kind of an opportunity for us to hang out. We don't get to see each other too often, and I figured this would be a great time for us to get together for this episode of the podcast. So let's go ahead and get into the episode. If you're watching the YouTube edition of this, you can get into the comment sections down below. Let us know what you think about all of the announcements that we sort of touch upon, including that of the Black Shark 2 and Google Stadia. And then, of course, you can wait until our outro so you know where to find all of us and also where you can reach us on social media. So let's go ahead and get into the episode. That would be... So the company is Black Shark, but they are funded in part by Xiaomi. So it's actually incorrect. They were making it very clear to me during that whole trip that, like, we get why people want to say Xiaomi Black Shark, but it's not. So please make the distinction.
It'd be like saying an Oppo OnePlus 6
or Huawei Honor,
right?
Something, right?
Okay, got it.
So they really wanted to make that absolutely clear.
They want to make it its own brand.
Exactly. And they're working really hard to become a gaming brand, because in the box are a bunch of stickers, and like they really want it to be like quote unquote gaming lifestyle in a way, like Razer.
Yeah.
And I think they're doing a pretty good job so far, because this is such a fun phone to use already.
Is it really? I mean, it looks cool.
Yeah. Here, let me show you real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, quick reactions to the Black Shark is how we're starting off.
I've never seen it.
So yeah, you're in what is basically stock Android.
Wait a second. So we already started?
Yeah.
Okay.
Welcome to the show.
Welcome to the show.
So we're So we're in what is basically stock Android.
Oh yeah, it's a Pixel
Pi.
launcher.
Yeah, it's Pixel launcher, which is awesome already.
Weird.
Different.
Like that.
I don't know if the Chinese version is going to have MIUI, but there's this. It looks like the alert slider.
Okay.
Of the OnePlus.
Of OnePlus, yeah. So when you toggle that, what it does is it dumps
Shark space. Sharknado space.
It dumps every app in the background so that memory is only used for games.
Got it.
So
this it pulls you into like a
it's a game launcher.
It's a game launcher, right?
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
So a game launcher done right. Just kill every other app, because let's get ready to party.
And we were talking
Force
about
landscape. Apparently.
Yes, Force landscape. Well, it'll go to like.
It'll do portrait if the game is.
Exactly.
Let's do Super Mario Run.
Because we were talking.
Let's really test this thing.
Well, the thing is, we were talking about this last week, that gaming has the problem with gaming right now on mobile is that the software needs to catch up with the hardware. Because the thing is, the hardware, we have vapor cooling, we have super high specs and all that.
The games don't use any of that.
Exactly.
Right.
So
they don't need it.
So what you get with the Black Shark is hardware that's actually trying to like go all in with that. So you have this shark space that kills all of the apps in the background. I'll open this later. If you swipe down from the top, you get all of these options right here, including an overclock. So you can actually turn everything up to 11.
Well, Razer did that with their Cortex app.
True.
And Asus does it with
and Asus does it as well.
True. It's a little bit easier to actually like cater though, but there are other options available like gaming HDR, like
At least
a very
you have a
specific
hardware
one.
button on this one.
Yeah.
Like it's an easier way to just launch it.
Oh, yeah, that's kind of cool. I do like
But do you also remember just how not really upset, but annoyed that the controller was not available at launch?
Oh my god. But then again, the problem was not the annoyance of the controller with Razer, the late launch, but the fact that once it did launch, it didn't really work well.
Well,
not the controller. It's not a controller problem. It's an Android problem.
It is.
So what have you got there, Mr. Nintendo Switch?
All right. So the case for Black Shark has two ridges on the sides where you actually slot in the two portions of the controller, and it becomes kind of like an Android Switch of sorts.
Genius.
So this is this is the full configuration. There is a cooling case that's like that much thicker, but this is
who needs that?
What?
Well,
so
if
your
you-
point of software and hardware, I don't need a cooling case.
That's what I'm
what?
saying. Like that's if you turn on the ludicrous mode and you go like absolutely nuts on the game. But the thing is,
necessary.
it's not necessary. Yeah, not with games right now. But I think that's the point. Is that they're encouraging app developers to take advantage of the hardware.
Right.
So it's just like encouraging everybody.
Yeah.
Now here's the thing. This is going to be where
The chicken before the egg.
Yes.
Concept, right?
this is where Jaime's whole thing comes in.
What's that?
This controller does not register the way that a Xbox controller or a typical Android controller registers. These are all replacements. All these buttons and this touchpad right here are all replacements for on-screen controls. You have to map every little thing.
Got it.
So if the game has...
The
But you only
Asus-
do it once.
Yes,
Like,
you only do it once.
okay, I'm willing to put up with that.
Yeah. Wait, once per game? No, just once. Because most games are all going to be in the same
Well,
area
once per
anyway,
game.
or
Because,
no?
for example, PUBG has so many buttons on its interface.
Oh, right.
And then you got to drag and
So you
drop
drag-
everything.
Oh, that's cool. But I like that. And I saw that first on the Asus or
Yeah,
whatever,
and
the ROG phone.
yeah.
That had, but only to the triggers. The air triggers could do that.
Yeah.
I still think the
So
triggers...
it's a concept, though. The same concept, though.
the same concept.
Except more buttons.
But the thing is, it's a little bit frustrating, to be honest, because if your game doesn't already have a full HUD...
Oh, like you have to swipe to get two buttons?
Exactly. Then you're screwed. 'Cause
Well,
they're-
can you not set one of these to swipe? No.
Well, okay. One thing you can do is if you hold the right button, it renders a mouse on screen, and then you use this touchpad in order to click on things.
Which is okay, but
It's a compromise.
I don't
Yeah.
feel like that feels right. But like, can you maybe set one of these as a hotkey to do a swipe down action or a swipe? I'm obviously this is wishful thinking.
I think there might be one, but it's more on the touchscreen. There's something called Master Touch where you actually program macros to a hard press on the screen.
Got it.
Oh,
Okay,
that's nice.
So that's
Yeah.
okay. You could.
I
Maybe,
haven't messed with that yet. I can't give it-
that's
Wow, but that's
Getting
like,
into it, but that's
it's
cool.
like they really work hard on that.
Yeah,
pretty much.
they put a lot of thought into this.
Yeah.
And you know what? Like, certain games, it's just not going to work. Like, for example, portrait games, of course, you're not going to use the controller. But that's the thing. They put a lot of work into this to make sure the controller makes sense in certain games. And then if you're going to use touch controls anyway, because some games require that, then they made sure the latency is low. You have Master Touch and all that. There was a guy, Jaime must have seen it on my video, but there was a guy who came up on stage and played like a Guitar Hero-esque game, where it was like on insane mode, so everything was coming down at like a millisecond, and he was just the whole time perfect score to show off that the touch latency is the best in the market right now.
a good way to
It was amazing, and he came up and I had a front row seat for no reason at all, and I just turned around, and all of the European media were staring at me like, "What is happening?" It was kind of an insane event, I have to say.
That's
it was
pretty cool.
pretty
Dude,
crazy.
it was in the Great Wall.
Well, not in it, but we had a Great Wall thing in the morning before the event. And
That
then
was so cool, man.
Well,
I'm kind of sad I didn't go.
it would have been great to have you there. Thank you for letting me go.
Of course, no problem.
I do have to show you one thing real quick, though, before I get into a check-in with you guys. So I'll pull up the video later. I don't want to take up too much time with it. But so we climbed the Great Wall. In order to get to the section where you start to climb the Great Wall, we took a ski lift, right? Mm-hmm. And then in order to come down, you could take the ski lift down if you want. There's no walking down. But you can also do something that I think is... It really doesn't fit with the historical implications of the Great Wall.
You could skateboard?
It was a toboggan.
Like a sled. Okay, that's cool.
Okay, but just
I like that. I would do that.
Yeah, but just to provide a little context, the problem is that I don't know what size Chinese people had when the Great Wall was built, because each step is the size of one of my legs.
It is.
And so
some.
it's not that they're just making it easy for regular humans to walk up and down, because I don't think, like, I was in top shape when I was in the Great Wall, and I was dead by I think that the bus driver hated us so much on that trip that he's like, I'm gonna drop them off in the most complicated place to climb, and he achieved that.
Well, here's kind of what it looks like. This toboggan.
Holy snap!
It's
all right,
the weirdest thing ever.
Okay, I need to go.
That's fantastic.
That is fantastic, because you're still getting the visuals of the Great Wall.
Yeah.
And you don't have to put up with the rest of the drama.
In the video, why is your hand in between? Is there like a break?
There's a break, yeah. and as you're coming down, they start screaming at you like, test the brake first, test the brake. You're like, okay, cool, okay. And they wouldn't let me record. I snuck those clips in because they didn't want you to record or take pictures of anything. I guess for a safety thing, because if you're distracted, you're not braking. It was really weird.
We need to send Casey Neistat to them. Teach him a thing or two.
They have a picture of Michelle Obama doing it. They were like, yeah. And they were like, by the way, just if you're worried about safety, Michelle Obama did it. We're like, what is that?
Yeah. Wait a second. But Michelle Obama's badass. Have you seen her train?
It's
like...
Right.
That's
how she got those arms.
Exactly.
Just testing out that brake on the Great Wall.
Just ski lift up, toboggan down. It was kind of weird, because putting aside like all the slavery and death that happened at the Great Wall, that was fun.
Great.
That's how we were all feeling once we got off the
toboggan.
Damn it!
I should have gone.
Yep.
Damn it.
We're gonna have you on for the next one, though. I really put in a good word with them. So Black Shark.
I actually want that phone. This is the first time I see it. First time I hold it. I tell you, man, I want to play games with my phone. I don't want to be carrying around my Switch. There are certain games that are on Android. The problem is I need a controller. I need a controller.
I played my Switch all the way to China, playing Undertale, by the way. No spoilers. And then on the way back, I was on that. It definitely did help a lot.
Okay.
I will say, though, you have to put in the work to map everything, but once you do, games like PUBG are sublime.
But it's just once. Right. I don't mind doing that once.
Yeah.
I don't mind doing that once. It's like, for me anyways, I would still remap a ton of things on my keyboard whenever, oh my God, my Logitech G Pro keyboard just arrived.
Yes.
Along with the G Pro mouse.
Good choice.
And that charging trackpad.
Yeah.
Ooh, man.
That's a good choice.
Oh,
the G Pro? You're not a mechanical keyboard guy, are you?
Nah.
No.
Convenience, man. Convenience. I'm not carrying that shit around. Excuse me, I'm not carrying that thing around.
Oh, you saw mine? Oh, no, you didn't see mine yet, did you?
No.
Okay, yeah. The one
Have
that
you
I
heard his? Because
it's
easier to hear him than to see it.
Nope, I'm good.
I remember typing up the script while we were at MWC, and he just looks at me and he goes, that's a loud game.
I kind of feel that way about anybody with the new MacBooks, though. Like, all of them sound like that.
No, but the previous generation, the 2017, the new one.
New one's better, right? It's a little quieter, right?
It's much quieter, actually. And it's actually very pleasant to type on. I like it.
All right, so the Black Shark and China, of course, were what I've been up to the last few days.
Cool.
You two have been spending a lot of time together recently. I want to do a little bit of a check-in with you guys. So I drove all the way down here, not to get into the details of my horrific 4-hour drive down from LA, but we're here in San Diego, and I came down to see these guys so we could have a fun little podcast, all person to person like this.
Yeah.
So what has been going on in San Diego for you two,
Mr. Cogen?
Jaime. Well, we're here for a Qualcomm event. They were showing off their new smart speaker chipset. It's like the first time they've actually made a chipset specifically for speakers.
Yeah.
Normally they just like retrofit one of their other series and throw it in there. So the fact that they did that, it's like they were telling us all about it and how it's going to lower costs, and like they have really hi-fi audio that now will be able to come to lower price points and all this other stuff. The only thing that like I wish is like that we could obviously see units, but this is of course Qualcomm telling us about the technology before it's actually available.
Did they have a reference unit that looked really cool and you
Yes,
wish?
I took a photo of it. I'll send it to you. You can throw it up on the screen.
Yeah.
It looks like
looked like a mason jar.
What?
Yeah, there was a reference device that looked like a mason jar. It was supposed to be like a Google Home.
Yeah.
But it's
But it was
various.
see-through and just, I don't know. I would rock it.
So this is the QCS 400 series. It's actually not just one chip. It's 4 chips.
Yeah,
Oh.
correct.
It's pretty much one chip with different components that will either make it adequate for your Echo Dot or your standard Google Home or a screen version or the high-end, sound bars.
Sonos and
Now,
all that,
yeah,
yeah.
but in the case of the sound bar, dude, like they literally created this amplifier to go with the chip that's literally a quarter of the size of a standard smartphone. And so it's hilarious how there were audiophiles invited from, press audiophiles invited.
Oh.
And they were all just geeking out over where's the heat sink?
Yeah.
Where's this and where's that? They're like,
Qualcomm's
you don't
like, no heat sink. We
you
don't
don't need any of that. And they were like, no, that can't be. What? No. And so imagine your typical sound bar now not needing to be a sound bar. It could literally be something the size of this.
Okay.
Okay, that's one thing. And then the second thing is, because, obviously they've got experience with Snapdragon and everything, the whole idea is if you want a portable Echo Dot, you can now have a portable Echo Dot. They showed different ways in which this chip will only listen to keywords and actually only require power drain through keywords in a specific way. They showed off how it works. And so
My name is my password. Was that the thing that they used to say? My voice is my password. That's it.
yeah. And so a lot. It's funny. There were a lot of questions over why, the reducing the size of a sound bar and providing high quality audio is great. I mean, there have been Qualcomm chips on Sonos and other sound bars and forever, but it was the whole concept of what's the purpose of this chip, and so they were very clear into this is the whole idea is to create a whole different array of products that don't exist today, like portable Google Home Minis and Amazon Echoes and that.
Okay.
Which I like.
So obviously you were saying that audiophiles were there and they were geeking out. Of course, I think it's obvious that this is the kind of question that people like us would have. Is this a chip that you could put into a smartphone? Imagine boombox on an LG.
So they literally what they did was pull out the DSP from the Snapdragon 855, or if not that
Two
one.
of them. They put 2 in there as well.
Yeah.
It's just it's its own custom thing meant for speakers.
Meant for speakers.
As opposed to them taking a Snapdragon and putting it into a speaker, they were like, well, there's only certain things we really need in a speaker, and we need more of these things and less of these things. Let's all put that together and make a different chip.
And then
so it's not, you would never see this in another device.
It just sounds like certain
parts. A lot of things.
It just sounds like certain parts of these would actually enhance a smartphone experience.
Well, the amplifier would be cool, but the amplifier's too big to go to a phone.
Exactly.
It's small.
Good point.
For an amplifier, but it's too big for a phone.
Okay, but that's one thing. Then the other thing is, in addition to the power saving, you also have the advantage that you can. So right now, if you talk to an Echo Dot, you have if you have a smart Roomba or one of these things, you can talk to the Echo, have the Echo call the cloud, connect to the Roomba, and have it move. Now what they're doing is also allowing developers to create their own keywords that work directly on the product and don't require you to go through the Echo. And so you can still use an Amazon Echo to call on the Roomba, but you will also have the option to be like, Roomba, start cleaning, without the need of the Echo being involved. And so it also allows third-party products to be smarter to a certain degree, but to also have the capabilities of continuing to be connected to the internet.
Okay.
Yeah, or not needing to be connected to the internet.
Not needing to be
So,
connected.
for example, if you take that smart speaker away from the house, you can actually still give it commands, and it'll still be able to do basic functionality because it doesn't need to go to the cloud for just the hot word, for example. It could be and then they have multiple support for a bunch of different hot words as well. So you can have Alexa, Google Home, the brand, all of those can all be embedded on the chip and run all the time.
KitchenAid.
Cool. Right. KitchenAid. Blend.
Wait a second. But that was one thing that we saw. The second thing is the one that gave Mr. Cogen the creeps.
Oh, no, it's so creepy.
In the Wi-Fi presentation.
Oh, it's so creepy and yet so great.
Okay, I think that the one I like, so I do like, the QCS 400 and everything. It's just, I had no idea what Wi-Fi 6 is capable of.
Yeah.
and we were given a full demo of things that are going to be like, whoa.
Yeah, so to talk about the creepy thing, because we just need to get that because it's really exciting to me. But like, it's not just Wi-Fi 6. This is not something that necessarily Wi-Fi 6 enables, but in the same breath, while they were talking about Wi-Fi 6 and telling us all these things, they were explaining a thing called spectral sensing.
Okay.
So instead of having to use like
For security purposes, instead of having to use a camera.
right, but not even security. They were preaching all the cool things about it. And I was like, that is all cool, but it's also terrifying. So the cool things about it that they were telling us was like, look, we can actually use the Wi-Fi spectrum to determine when things are open, closed, whether there's a person in the room, etc. So forget a camera or forget a sensor on your door. We can just use your existing Wi-Fi network and know that the door is open because of the way the spectrum hits it and bounces back.
Using RF signals.
Right? So
Okay,
cool.
yeah.
Cool. Here comes the creepy part. The creepy part is that they were also explaining that each individual person has their own RF interference.
Yeah.
So if you walk in the room, Josh,
Yeah.
it can tell first off that you're in the room because you're interfering with the Wi-Fi signal,
can't
but then you can name that Josh.
Exactly.
And
So
it will always know when you come in the room versus when Jaime comes in the room versus when I do.
How have we not been using this?
But have you have
it's
to
not
train
like
it.
They're saying like some companies are already building this. It's not like a new thing. They're making it, just hasn't come to market.
Oh, okay.
They were naming like production companies are making.
Well, because
this
this is
Google
the-
it. You'll find companies.
The thing is, this is a level of security.
It is.
It's also terrifying.
Because if you think
I
about
like it, and I'm a futurist and a progressive when it comes to these things. And like I don't really care that certain people are watching me. Like I don't care, but like. Wi-Fi is everywhere already, right? Like they were explaining they don't need to do much to turn this on. Do you remember the scene in like
The Dark Knight.
Yes. The scene in The Dark Knight, and who was the character that it was like, I can't work for you anymore.
Lucius Fox, yeah.
So
Lucius
Lucius
Fox.
Fox was like, I'm not dealing with you ever again, Batman, because this is terrifying and he has
Wait
to
a
destroy
second.
it.
Exactly.
This is that.
It is exactly
I gotta find this man, Lucius.
using cell phones and the signal they emit,
this is using
and having
Wi-Fi
like
instead.
sonar bouncing off. Yeah. That is literally it. Probably that's the smartest way to explain it.
I get why you're creeped out by it. I think that's fantastic.
No, look.
I'm not saying it's not.
It's super cool. I honestly think it's super cool, and I love it, and I'm going to use it. But a part of me has to like just ask the question of like, you know, like we're worried about like facial recognition in like China, for example, and how it's like they're.
Oh, I have a story.
Yeah. So yeah, you were just there, right? But like they were, you know, all of those things, and you're like, oh well, like cameras are going to be everywhere, and we're all going to be watched. Okay, we don't even need the cameras. Everything that is required to track you across the world right now is already in place.
Yeah,
basically is what they just told me. That's where my head went.
Well, I think the reason why I'm totally into that right now is because my family, my parents and I, we've been having a horrible time trying to like cancel our home security system, and to know that I don't have to like necessarily pay for a whole new like camera system. No. Just we got Wi-Fi. we got Google Home.
And then there are other
intruder detected.
And then there are other cool things that Wi-Fi will be able to do. Like for example,
the Wi-Fi 6.
So one of the things that Wi-Fi 6 will enable. Or probably not Wi-Fi. So once your TV is Wi-Fi 6 capable, and your smart speaker is Wi-Fi 6 capable, you won't need mesh routers anymore. Your television can become a mesh router. Your other speaker in the room, they will be capable of not just receiving but transmitting.
Won't that shoot up the price though?
No.
Really?
It's literally the same capability of the chip.
Yeah.
And
you can just build these things in there.
And the Wi-Fi will be smart enough to pretty much tell everybody in Latin America, F you. Because now you won't be able to steal Wi-Fi from the neighbor. Because you will be smart enough. The Wi-Fi will be... I'm like, man, you're going to really ruin my time in my apartment in Honduras, dude.
You can't steal Wi-Fi anymore?
I can't steal Wi-Fi anymore.
Yeah.
Man. We're going to have...
No.
Jaime's going to have even a worse time on the podcast.
No, wait a second. No, my neighbor... I won't be able to... No, it's the other way around. I won't be able to tell my neighbor, hey, my password is this, because you can literally geofence what your apartment is, and it will not...
Based on all the products.
And it will not spill signal outside of that fence.
I like that.
Yeah, I do.
That is cool, actually.
Yeah, but the thing is that it's not even geofencing. You don't even have to tell it. It just Wi-Fi 6, one of the things it can do is it just learns from what's around. So like if it knows that like if you have it against this wall, right, you're technically giving a lot of Wi-Fi signal to your next door neighbor.
Exactly. Yeah.
But none of the devices have the password, so none of them are connecting over there. So the beamforming stuff that it does with MIMO, instead of pointing that direction, just points this way.
This way, yeah.
And so
Or
get,
just lessens the signal that way.
Lessens the signal that way, and then you get more signal this way. So
Yeah.
that's better for
That
your
is
coverage.
smart. That is
Also
smart.
stops people from being able to get your
I do
have
like that
no
a lot.
idea.
Yeah,
I
that's
do.
pretty awesome. Quick story before we go into our first break. So when you enter, you've been to China, obviously, right? You went recently, right?
I did for
Okay.
the first time, but I went to Shenzhen, which felt very.
Which is fine in the airport on the way in. I know. I
Beijing.
mean, I was
So
like,
you,
Westernized.
bear in mind, you were in Beijing.
Yeah, true.
So Beijing is a different story.
It is, but I think in Shenzhen they do this too, where you go into immigration control and you have to give your fingerprints.
Oh, and then the thing takes a face photo of you. Yeah.
Yeah, that too.
Scans your face.
But like, okay, I don't remember the last time I was in Beijing, but I went over to those machines, remembering that it was there, and I was like, I mean, certain makes me feel a little bit weird, but okay. So I went like that,
Yep.
and I saw other people there, like putting their fingers down, and then it comes out with like a picture of their fingers, and it goes, okay, thank you for that, blah blah blah. When I went like this, put my fingers down, a little card came out that just said okay, which meant they have my info already.
Oh yeah, no.
Like
They didn't.
they didn't need it updated. Like they had it.
But again, none of this matters. This new Wi-Fi thing's gonna be replacing all that crap. You'll just walk in the room and they'll be like, "Josh is here."
Which is what I'm saying. Like, oh my god. Okay.
No. But I thought that it was. I think that regardless of the the announcements, I really like being here just to be explained what these things can
No,
do.
I think that's more the value here. Like the hard part for
That's
us.
the thing about Qualcomm events.
Yeah,
I'm a high level dude, and then whenever they talk the low level stuff, I'm
Oh.
like, what is happening?
Exactly.
I love that. I love knowing how the things work.
I feel so outclassed in every single meeting with them. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Can you? I miss Sharif. There was a guy that
Sharif
worked
was
with them.
He was the best
No,
explainer.
and they've got new guys that are doing just as good of a job. But he was so good at like explaining it to you in like
2 minutes
Put
from
your-
the 2-hour
put
presentation.
Put your bib on.
Yeah.
Here's a
Let me
spoon.
Yeah.
All right.
But I think it is important. I like coming to these because they do like. There's not necessarily. It's hard for us to develop a story. Like there's not a video I could do necessarily while I was here because there's not really like a product. There's nothing there. We're learning, right? True. But I
you
still
know
enjoy
what?
coming because then when the products come out,
You
I have
know what to-
so
you know
much
what to
more
say.
knowledge, and I understand what Qualcomm's position is behind it, and
Yeah.
for Qualcomm's favor, right? And then there's all this other stuff.
I totally agree with you, but you could have totally done a video, just like, well, technically this is it, but you're
Me being scared. Yeah,
yeah,
no.
exactly.
No,
That's
I
what it
actually
is.
thought to do that, but like I don't want to be that person that does the scare stories. I'm not
Conspiracy
certain
YouTube.
locations that I don't
No.
want to name, but I don't want to be those.
and
It's
it's-
clickbait is what that
no,
is.
and it's
Because
one-
I'm also excited about that product as well.
But you could
I'm
say
joking
both.
a little
No,
bit when I'm like, it's terrifying.
And let's focus also on the fact that there are ethics out there. Like for example, now laptops are coming out with a cover for the camera.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now
Or they're
we've
in
got
the- or
smart
they're in the
speakers. Yeah, now smart speakers come with a cover for the camera. Just don't bring a camera at all. So I do feel that the concern exists.
Yeah, of course.
The capability also has existed
Yeah, yeah.
since.
Yeah.
How long have we been carrying cameras on our laptops?
Yeah.
Think about it.
Yeah.
Since it's been more than 15
And
years.
and our phones now.
Exactly.
But to your point, you don't need a camera
This is what I'm
anymore.
saying.
When you can just Wi-Fi you
Just Wi-Fi scan you and you're done.
coming right off of your
So
laptop.
I feel that we need more. We need to see. We already know what it can do. The question is how it gets implemented.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
All
I
right.
agree.
I don't even know if there's like a mid ad for this one, but we're going to go into a quick break. If you're overwhelmed by the sheer amount of remote controls you have cluttering your entertainment space, then you should check out the Control Center by Kavo. The Control Center simplifies your home theater so you can control everything that's connected to your TV with one remote that includes voice control. Plug in any media system into the Control Center, even your game console, and it will take care of the rest. One universal voice remote controls it all. Just say what you want to watch, and you can enjoy every second of your viewing time without having to lift a finger or search for those other remotes. In my family home, I've been able to get the living room down to one Control Center as compared to the 5 remote controls we used to use before that. And it is easier to teach my parents one remote control rather than having to teach them how to use multiple. Check it out for yourself and get 40% off the Control Center with the promo code WEEKLY. That brings the price down to $59.95 from the original $99.95. Service plans are required, but the first 45 days are free. Control Center is available at caavo.com and Best Buy. Control Center by Kavo. One remote, that does it all. Okay, so we have one huge announcement from this past week, which I love that. Just a peek behind the curtain, Jaime reported this news, but still watched a few videos to make sure he knew what he was talking about for this. So, okay, how much would you two say you are gamers?
Retro.
Retro. Okay, retro's
I'm a
retro.
casual. I'm a
You
casual.
casual
I
gamer?
love my Switch. I like that I can play it on a plane and like when I'm in bed and like.
So
downtown.
this is the reason why
I'm
I
not a
think.
hardcore gamer.
Well, this is the reason why I think that actually Google is it Stadia?
Stadia.
Stadia. I remember trying to look up what
Stadia, and I'm like, oh, so like a stadium. And if you look at their advertisement, it focuses on showing how people would play ever since the the gladiator times and stuff like that. It's interesting
It has
advertisement.
something to do with the word stadium.
that oddly
Yeah.
weird way of them advertising.
Yes.
Okay, that's the reason why I think, like, especially for like you, a casual gamer who would not put down the money for like a Razer 17 in order to have the best specs to play games.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's why, because this
Yeah.
is cloud-based gaming, obviously. So you can use any device, Android, and any device with Chrome.
Can I use my Switch?
No.
No.
Fine.
It always comes back to the Switch.
No. Wait a second. So currently, Hulu works on the Switch. Like, Switch is allowing certain apps to work on it.
Yeah.
Like, in the end, what they want is for you to be part of the platform.
Yeah, they don't care.
Like, they don't care.
That is an idealistic world, though.
Yes.
Like,
I mean, but you're right. Regardless, I have an Android phone. I have an iPhone. I have a computer. So I could use any of those.
So we don't know exactly what the pricing is going to be when it comes to Stadia or anything like that, but I want to just put it out there. I know it's got to be a streaming service. It's got to be like subscription service.
It's going to be monthly. They want to be the Netflix of games. They're gonna
So which brings me to my second
same
question.
price.
How many things are you guys subscribed to?
a lot.
I just got billed for Runner's World. I mean, I didn't remember that I'm subscribed to the magazine like once a year for $20.
Nice.
Like what? New York Times, Runner's World, YouTube TV, which is $35 a month. Netflix, which is 11 something, plus Spotify Family, which is another $15.
I'm back on Verve personally. I'm watching anime again.
I have Google Music as well, so
There you
that's
go.
another $10. So literally, I have.
Wait, why do you have Google Music and Spotify?
Because for
seems
some
dumb.
reason when YouTube Premium came around, I was like, all right, I need to report on it, so I'll accept the trial, and I always forget to cancel it. I spent 3 years forgetting to cancel Hulu. 3 years. And I think, how many companies make money like that?
Yeah, absolutely.
All of them.
So what? And then
It's the concept of a gym.
Exactly.
Right, like it's a monthly subscription.
LA Fitness makes
Whether
so
you go or
much
not, they
money
make a
out
lot
of
of
me.
money.
Yeah.
And then you try to cancel it, and they come.
they hate you.
They come to your house. And
Yeah,
then,
exactly. We'll break your legs.
how about you? How many subscription things do you have?
I couldn't even count, but like I use a lot for work as well. Like I have systems that help me, like plugins for my website, like, there's a lot of those. Like personal things, a lot. I mean, a decent amount.
Yeah. So what's to stop you from
Adding another one.
adding this one?
I like the concept.
Yeah.
Personally, I don't know how well it's going to work. That's the big question. The price is also a big question, but like I can't imagine it's going to be that expensive.
I was about to say, I'm not really concerned about the
I'm not
price.
either. I don't think it's going to be expensive. Let's say it's $20.
Bring that mic closer.
It matters.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm not really concerned about the price. I don't think I don't think Google can be. They only have one game, which
Right.
is Doom.
So
which right there, the moment that I saw Doom, I was like, oh, that's like one of the main reasons, the big selling point for me to buy the Switch wasn't all the games, but was the fact that Doom was going to be ported to it. And Doom was my favorite PC game of all time.
Right.
And so I was like, all right, if I could get Doom on this thing, so for me, I'm already sold.
Right. But so this brings up a good point, which is the thing that drives most people to any of these consoles or these systems or these streaming services is the
Titles.
content.
Is the
Right.
content.
So like if you don't have the content, nobody's going to come.
No.
But the thing is, as long as Google is able to make the deals, no matter what game it is, they could probably get it. Like as long as it's available for, let's say, PC. And maybe PC is the only hurdle.
That's
here.
where it would start, right?
Yeah, that's the only hurdle here because you
Nintendo's
probably
never giving them anything.
Yeah, Nintendo never give them anything. Sony will
Nintendo's
never
IP
give them
is
anything.
the only reason people use
So
Nintendo.
it's PC and Xbox.
Correct.
In that case, because
But
that's
then you have Microsoft coming out with their own service.
But here's the thing. I mean, Sony has had it for how long as
Yeah.
well? The problem is, can these companies make the mistake of playing a Microsoft or playing, the companies that became playing an Apple with Apple Music? If you think about it, this is not new. Like, streaming gaming has existed for a while.
a
Many
long
companies have
time.
tried and they failed. the thing about it is Google actually has the money.
Yeah.
They actually, like, if Amazon said that they wanted to do something like this, I would trust that it would work.
Yeah, you'd be like, yeah,
because
they have the money.
They have the servers,
exactly.
They have the capability, and so
Gaming
does
via
Google.
AWS.
I mean, it's hilarious. It's hilarious how much, if you tried to watch Vimeo or any sort of video service separately, and try to compare that to YouTube.
Yep.
YouTube has so much R&D into how to make the video play immediately that you don't find in other services. And so if Google has been able to achieve that with video, which is extremely complicated, I don't doubt that they will have the capability.
With the game, because the game is the same thing.
Yeah.
They're streaming a video. It's got nothing to do with gaming. The game is going to run on the server. They're just streaming an output to you, which is essentially a video. Which is what they do all the time anyway.
Even the controller is not connected to your device.
Yeah,
it's connected directly.
Yeah.
So it's literally like the Google Docs of games.
That is really really clever. I will admit
because you're interacting directly. So it's Netflix, yes, but you don't interact with the movie once it starts playing.
Right.
Whereas in Google Docs, you're in real time interacting with the spreadsheet in a server.
And that's the other side.
But there's
the latency.
Exactly. There's so many bits going in and out in terms of gaming, because even 4K 60 frame per second video on Netflix or YouTube,
it's difficult.
Like
it will
when there's a lot of crap happening on screen, there are artifacts.
Yeah.
And like you said, it doesn't really choke. I don't think there's stutters, but the bitrate goes down.
Yeah, but it doesn't play immediately. Now, but and here's the thing. I mean, and this is the reason why I feel that the idea is not so crazy. Try to launch Doom on your Switch. How long does it take for the game to load? Try to launch Super Mario Odyssey. It's at least 3 minutes for it to go through the whole process.
Yeah.
So we're worried about latency, where you're going to have a supercomputer on the other end, and it all depends on your internet connection. So if you're telling me that the game is going to launch on that supercomputer in 30 seconds when compared to 3 minutes, I'll take it.
Okay.
Well, but it's not that. It's because we know it's going to be able to launch fine and it'll show up and the screen will work. It's the crosstalk back and forth over the World Wide Web.
True that.
Of me pushing button A and expecting a reaction immediately.
No, and
if you have a certain amount of milliseconds, even it's going to be noticeable.
True,
and you're going to be like, "This sucks.
True,
I don't want to play this."
I mean, right now when I told my son, I'm getting these things for gaming, the G Pro and everything, he was like, "Oh, you're going to want this mouse because it's got no latency." It's like like that. I'm like, all right, dude, fine.
And that's the thing. Like the way that I felt when I tried PlayStation Now is that this is just not going to be for hardcore gamers of certain genres.
Right.
You're not going to do PUBG here because you need immediate reaction.
You're not doing first-person
You need
shooters
fast
at all.
twitch muscles, like in the internet sense.
Yeah.
And you also won't be able to do fighting games. You also won't be doing nothing competitive. It just won't be anything competitive.
It'll be more casual stuff.
Even
you play strategy games.
Even Doom is kind of pushing it in terms of because you need fast twitch.
Yeah.
That's the thing. But
that is the title that they're leading with. So
I know
they have some confidence.
They have a lot of confidence.
If you've got the bees to use Doom as your launch platform,
that's what I mean.
I'm like, okay.
Well, see, they're
show me.
So I want to channel a little bit of because when I was driving down to San Diego, one of the first people was these two, and then one other person that I messaged to see who was here, Anabong, Thunder E from Board at Work, who, as we were saying earlier, is already incredibly opiniated about everything.
Of course,
but he's a contrarian. He says no to everything that everybody else says yes to.
He's probably loving
this is popular. No, stupid. It's basically he's reactionary.
But he's also he is a self-proclaimed gamer though, so I wanted to hear what those contrarian opinions are in the context of a gamer. Right. And he actually was like he's looking forward to it, but at the same time he also, like you said, thinks he hates it because
this will never work.
The way that I feel is that Google is overpromising so that when they underdeliver, it's still okay. They're shooting for the sun but reaching the stars. Because 4K 60 on the kinds of the internet connection in this very Airbnb probably can't even match that. Not even close.
I guess I'm wondering, here's the thing, what if they do pull it off? Because think about it, how much, like my Falcon Northwest Tiki
oh my God.
is a $5,000 gaming rig.
I haven't heard that brand name in a long time.
Dude, like my gaming rig is the S. Like it's crazy. It's gorgeous and it's expensive. If they do pull it off, what's going to happen to the hardware market? Because this pretty much promises that you can play whatever game you want on an iPad, on your current laptop. You won't need new hardware to play the best titles.
Right.
Like if you factor in how much money you need to spend even to build your own really powerful gaming computer.
Yep.
And this thing, let's assume it's priced at $20 a month. How much time?
No.
I mean, you would
Probably not, but that's a good guess.
But let's assume it's $20.
Sure.
Okay.
25. Fine. It's like how many years would you need? And by the time those years pass, you would already need to upgrade your graphics card or this or that. Right. You don't have to worry about the hardware anymore.
But this is the way the world is going in general.
Exactly.
Like, it's not even just gaming. In general, everything is going to eventually become a dumb terminal. And everything will be done in the cloud. 5G is going to enable that as well.
So
this is, I think, some microcosm of everything else.
So that's the reason why I'm like, what's going to happen to the companies that pull an Apple?
They're going to have to figure that crap out.
They're going to have to figure that crap out. Again, so the question
like
is,
any industry,
what happens if they pull it off?
It'd be impressive.
So do you think that are consoles in trouble? Speaking as a PlayStation guy, that's terrifying to me.
It would depend on
they're
the
all
games.
coming out with their own services as well for this. Like, they're not dumb. They see that that's the future. They're all doing it. It's a question of who can get to it fastest, who can do it the best.
And who's got the infrastructure. Like right now, I don't think Sony or Microsoft have it. Well, Microsoft because they have Azure and they have but right now the three companies that have that capability are literally Google,
Amazon,
Microsoft, and Amazon.
Right.
These are the three companies that are capable of pulling this off.
Yeah.
And for people to actually take the Xbox serious now.
Yeah, fair. So where do you land on sort of the there was that whole part the integration with YouTube? Like this, I feel like this, especially like this is why I keep coming back to. Like this is, I still don't think this is for hardcore gamers. I don't. This is for casual gamers because they literally have built into it Google Assistant to read. Yeah. to read where you are in the game.
Come on, you probably would have Googled it anyway. They're just making it easier.
But listen, it's a good way to convert people.
Yeah,
it's a good way to add value to their service.
Yeah.
That Xbox and Microsoft doesn't have.
And if you think about it, like even
the
YouTube,
instant save, all these other
YouTube
things.
doesn't have a market when compared to Twitch. Who owns Twitch? Amazon.
Right.
And so I think that it's a genius move. Like they're giving you an ecosystem around gaming.
Yeah.
Whereas in Twitch, all you do is stream. Like it doesn't connect to your. Well, it connects and sure, but it's not one thing that talks to the other directly. Like if you own all these things, it's an even better way to make YouTube more important, to make the Google Assistant more important.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not. Bear in mind what I'm saying. I am saying that if they do pull this off. Holy.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Like if they pull it off, if they can actually
it's not going to be 4K 60. It's not. Not unless you're already a hardcore gamer who plays PUBG like 12 hours a day.
No.
Yeah.
Right now, no.
Yeah.
I get it. But think about what YouTube was 5 years ago. Think about what Spotify. We were having this conversation in the car. How long did it take Spotify to literally take over everything?
True.
How long did it take all these services?
But you know what? One of the main moves Spotify did and YouTube did to be that free.
Yeah,
they had a free option.
They had a freemium. Yeah,
free. So
and think
this
about
will
it.
never be free.
But think about it. What's the biggest problem with the Switch? You can't do trials.
Yeah, that's true.
You either pay or you don't.
You can return.
You can return in the case of if you bought the hardware, but if you did downloading, you can't. And so if they come up with a freemium server, okay, and this is my other concern. My biggest problem is when you get titles like Doom and all these hardcore gaming titles, that's all great. The problem is when you get the game lofts and the other services that'll literally pour in-app purchases on you like crazy for you to play Asphalt.
Right.
That is like, if Google can control that part, which Nintendo has started controlling right now,
they have.
If they can control that part, I think it's going to work.
I think they're just going to want a cut of it and they're going to allow it. Because Google's business is ads.
Are we talking about Apple all of a sudden?
Well, I'm just saying. I think that's what's going to happen.
Okay, so final question on here, since we're keeping this fairly snappy. Could Apple do something like this?
Of course.
Like, do you really think that they would have the licenses for actual, like, big AAA title publishers?
Not just that. How many of these gaming companies or app
Apple's
developers?
always been behind in the gaming realm.
Yeah.
They always have.
Nobody makes for Mac.
Yeah, exactly.
No, but they also have the infrastructure if you think about it.
Yeah. Oh, and this could be a way for them to make games work on Mac. Right? But
Yeah.
like being like, now
wait,
all the Macs
what
are
do you
dummy
mean?
terminal.
What do you
Come on
mean?
in.
What do you mean this could be a way? Can you use Chrome on your Mac?
Well, that's what I'm saying.
This pretty much will turn every Mac into a gaming
that's
computer.
What I'm saying.
That's
so, like,
the
maybe
thing.
at that point it helps them too, but I don't know. I don't think they care. They never really cared about the gaming market. I don't think it's a priority for them.
The thing about it is Apple has
Unless
literally...
that's what they're launching.
They have been sitting on the laurels.
Which is why I'm saying they have their event coming up, right?
Yes,
right.
but Apple has been sitting on the laurels of the iPhone for the longest time, and now they've realized that can't be 60% of their income. They need to diversify into different things, which is the reason we've got that streaming service, which is hilarious. I reported on the Daily today. It's like, oh, yeah. So right now, Netflix CEO just came on record to say that Netflix won't be on the Apple streaming service that nobody has announced yet.
Right.
Nice.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. They could do it, I think. But, like, I don't think they will. Right? Apple. I don't think they're going to try.
The thing about it is, in the case of Google, it's
do a
like,
gaming service.
Like Google,
it doesn't fit their ethos.
The reason why I think that Google can do it is because if you think about it, when Google Maps launched, it took companies like even
They got a
analysts.
$300 Chromebook running Stadia.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying.
Wow.
Dude, exactly.
That's the whole point.
That's
Wow.
the whole point.
Yeah.
And so think about this. Google is one of those companies that can launch something like Google Maps and have cars drive around and do Street View and not make any money out of it.
Yeah, for a long
Only
time.
because they want you to feel that YouTube is a tool up to the point where the term became a verb. How did they beat Yahoo and all these other search engines
Yeah.
at their time? They literally did it by dominating everything, even at a loss. There's another company that's like that. That's called Amazon.
It's kind of Amazon's whole thing. For the last
Exactly.
10 years.
So for them, for Google, it's not about the short term, gains or whatever. They literally just want to dominate.
Okay.
They have so much cash.
So we need a...
Somebody in that room is like, what do we spend it on?
Yeah.
Wanna do a gaming service?
Let's,
Sure.
yeah.
Let's try.
Let's make that data server out in the boonies.
So
Yeah.
so my impression will be if they can pull it off, oh wow, this is going to be really cool. This is
I
going to
wanna
be
try-
really cool.
I tried
'Cause
to
think about
try
all of
it.
us parents that won't need to buy any more gaming consoles going forward.
But then you're going to spend $60 a month.
Yeah. It might be
That's
the
how
cost
much
of a
one
game.
game is.
all right.
It's going to be the cost of a game a month,
Okay.
is my guess. too.
Yeah.
I think that or maybe a little less. 50.
Okay, which
$49.95
which is the same as Spotify. Spotify is literally
$40?
No,
What
no,
kind of
no.
Spotify do you have?
Spotify. When
Do the
Spotify,
artists show up? Do they
when,
play for you?
When Spotify launched, it cost the same as a CD.
Yes, that was
$10
the concept.
bucks.
Correct.
$10,
One
yeah.
CD a month, right?
One CD a month.
Yeah, and I think even like GameFly back in the day, like all those kinds of services that were like
On live.
on live. That's what I'm thinking of more than GameFly, but same concept. Yeah,
Yeah.
they all did the same thing. No, yeah.
They did. Okay. See, this is why it came down. See, this is so much better than when, like,
Dude,
we're-
thank you for doing this, man.
Yeah,
This is a
that
great
was
podcast.
Perfectly fine.
Hell of a ride.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You tell me about it. My God.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I feel bad.
Apparently, Californians can't drive in the rain. Anyway, before I get into that,
Not apparently.
I
It's
can.
confirmed.
Okay. I can.
Yeah.
Okay. In any case, that'll about do it. On that note, thank you so much for listening to the weekly. I'm going to do the outro afterwards, so I'll just let these two talk about where we can find you all over the internet. Let's start with David Cogen here.
At TheUnlockr, unlock the letter R. There's an E missing. It was cool 10 years ago, and I can't change it now, so I'm sorry. But that on basically every social media and also on YouTube.
There you go.
And what me? I mean, people hear me repeat my name all the time.
Jaime Rivera,
They
underscore
forget-
Jaime Rivera,
The thing
underscore.
is, he took a letter out. You added an underscore.
Yeah, fair.
It was the only one available.
Yeah, it makes sense.
There's a douchebag that's holding my Jaime Rivera account, but he wants my Instagram, and I'm like, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, why
Yeah.
not? It's not a trade.
Get it.
Exactly. Well, Jaime underscore Rivera.
Damn
This
it.
guy. And you know me, I'm JV Tech T. I'm JV. I love tech and I love to drink me some tea. All right, so we'll just go ahead and cut over to our outro. And on that note, we're going to go ahead and call it on this edition of The Weekly. Our theme music is Bloom by Minerva, courtesy of a royalty-free license with Argofox. You can learn more about it in the episode's description. I already had the crew tell you where you can find them on social media, but Pocketnow is found at Pocketnow on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube in English and Espanol, where you can find more news on the Pocketnow Daily and Pocketnow Audio every weekday. Catch up with what The Weekly is talking about at pocketnow.com/podcast. podcast. And also make sure you make your voices heard by emailing us. That's podcast@pocketnow.com. We would certainly love your feedback through reviews and ratings on Google, Apple, Spotify, Overcast, or wherever you might be streaming us. Because without you, you wouldn't have been able to make this show for your eyes and ears for now 7 years straight. All right, we're going to see you next week for our next episode, so look forward to it here on YouTube, but also on your podcast streaming applications. Thank you so much for listening to this episode or watching it if you're on YouTube, and we will see you on the next edition.